sort of a bloodbath. I think even Loki versus Uranus is tough as it is, so I think we'll see Berserker doing a lot of work in this game. Loki Kronos, okay. Let's see what they do. I'm hoping for some early pressure. So PK is teal and green, spawning to the bottom of the map, whereas we've got MpT, Brewster, and Gafter, blue and red to the top. Town center positions seem okay, although these two town centers are extremely close to each other, almost within like line of sight. There are waterways on this map where you can build siege ships, so if a game were to get late enough, you want to be careful of that. And as always, if you've got an option of which town center to take the one that's not within water range, as you'll be safer as the game moves on, if that's an option. This one does look like it's in with water range. Same with this one. I think there's water here, but it's behind it, or water here as well, so. Yep, I think pretty much all of them. This third town centers are within water range, potentially. I don't think we're going to get to that point, though, especially with the Loki-Kronos combination for PK. I expect them to apply a lot of early pressure to the Uranus player and double them. I think we'll see a strong double on Gaffer, the Uranus player, and I don't think he'll be able to handle the pressure. Doesn't really have much secondary food that's safe either. He's got deer out here, and then a nice second pack of deer, but this is well away from his town center, so Redo's also scouting it, so I don't think he'll get to those deer before he gets knocked off by the early pressure. Would have been nice if his second pack was like someplace safer, like in behind his town center, but not an option. Redo also extremely aggressive with the scouting. And building a manor out in the open like this is not what you want to do. That's just a free building kill for the Loki, so. Huh. A safe temple from Berserker. Not what I was expecting. I would have expected a forward temple to allow for the hard pressure on the Uranus player. Especially seeing that he has his gold, food, and wood out in the open here. And then the manor that the Loki player could beat on. Curious why he took the forward gold instead of taking his back gold, which would have been a little safer. Or even this large gold mine back here. Which everything's standard so far. I think the next interesting thing to watch for will be what does Redo do with his temple? Is he gonna shift it forward somewhere, and if so, where? I also wonder if Redo saw the location of Gaffer's temple. He might try to deconstruct it as he hits classical to prevent the myth unit from coming out. Then there's also the potential for Valor once Redo advances classical, so he is shifting the temple. What? Why did he shift his temple from there to here? That was interesting. I guess he didn't feel comfortable with it forward. Theoretically, it is a little closer, and the cost of shifting isn't really anything, but still. So interesting seeing the military barracks first. Not gonna go Terma initially. I actually really like this wall. It'll act as a nice defense for his food. And he got up early, so decent defense from Gaffer. Redo going more of an economy build though, getting his upgrades, whereas Red's cutting corners trying to defend to rush that isn't coming as strong as he thought. Looks like Teal's just gonna raid with the Hearser and the speed upgrade. I'd expect that to come soon. Does anybody know if there's a way in AoT to see the resources that a player has at the moment? Without having to go into post-game, preferably. Surprised we see Berserker poking in here on blue. Surprised they're not trying to double red, especially given that he's an Atlantean with slow villagers. I mean, if Berserker found this set of 4 villagers out here hunting, that would be brutal. Trying to find where the spy is. Did he kill it already? Okay, he used it on red, that's why I can't find it on blue. So it looks like that manor did get taken out. That was built forward. And now red's getting caught out here. Guess he's just gonna throw away all his oracles. Not the biggest loss. He got his important military units out okay. Thing here though, if you're red, is you're just hoping Teal doesn't find these villagers, otherwise you're pretty much dead. And again, Redo got his economy upgrades, whereas Red skipped them, so Ritu is going to have the stronger production going forward. Blue didn't even go hunting dogs on Marsh? That's a bit of a shocker. Typically you'll always go hunting dogs on this map, as you start with deer, which is huntable, and then you pretty much always have boars nearby, so surprising Blue skipped it. Red having to use Shockwave defensively, which is never a good sign. Also getting his villagers harassed a bit. Still hasn't had those discovered by Teal yet. So close. He finds them. He's got the spy here, but they're just gonna go for the town center, it looks like. Blue's out of position. Restoration when he wasn't even fighting. That's a bit of a waste. Healed up a few low units, but you want to be fighting and trading damage while that happens. Buys a bit of time, but Blue's still a way away. Looks like Teal's focusing more on damage than purely the town center at this point. Not going for the killing blow yet. Would've liked to seen him double red a bit more earlier. Green would've lost a few less units. Either way, red's gonna be scattered, especially if they can get his gold over here. Even just forcing red to walk around like this and travel between resources is just going to put him further behind. I mean, it's 3, 4, it's close to 30 villagers if it were Egyptian or Norse Greek that he's got running around doing nothing. Still hasn't had his food discovered, which is really his only saving grace. Redo on 2 town centers now, so he's gonna have twice the economy easily, so just a matter of time. Good catch here by blue, getting a bit of damage in on teal. So for any newer players out there, economy upgrades are hugely important, especially the classical ones. If you don't get them early, you're just going to fall further and further behind, especially if your opponent is. So, while military is nice to have, a large army like this, you're much better off getting a few less units and getting your economy upgrades. That's going to help you stay in the game longer than getting an extra unit or two. Because the upgrades are going to result in several more units over time. So that's a common mistake people might make, or newer players, thinking you need a larger army when you can get by with a smaller army defending, especially with the help of town centers and their fire. We're skipping out on the economy upgrades. Especially when your opponent gets them right away. It's just gonna snowball over time. With flaming weapons, yeah. Teal's just gonna use it right away. Caught those villagers out, and with these units he can easily melt Red's army and then kill the town center, and then Red's gonna have nothing. Again, Blue's way out of position. I'm not sure what he was trying to do, going that far out. By the time he comes back, well, Red's already been melted mainly with flaming weapons, but if Green were pushed forward more, Red's gonna get doubled 2 versus 1 anyway, and lose most of his army by the time Blue even gets back. Blue does have a decent sized army, but with flaming weapons especially, it would get melted, although Red came back with some army. I don't know where this came from. I missed where Red had this extra army position, but it looks like Red was out of position as well. Teal with some decent myth unit spawns that are just going to help him power through Blue. At this point, Red's got limited number of villagers and no town center, so against an opponent with upgraded villagers and 2 town centers, it's just snowballing. They might be holding here, but Teal and Green will just be able to restock their armies much quicker. I guess Teal stopped production? I don't know where Teal's army went. I guess he threw away a lot of units, but Battlebore is just wrecking units without heroes in sight. And that's game. So, 2 relatively quick games. Kind of a skill mismatch here. This was MpT's B team, so their second team, not their best players, against PK's best players, who are some of the best players in the game at the moment, so not quite as interesting as the earlier games between TBL and PKB. So if you missed those games, check them out. I'm sure Blackadder is going to be putting them up on the RTSL YouTube channel, so check that out. You missed two. If you didn't check them out earlier, there were two good 3 vs 3s between TBL and PK on Mediterranean and then Anatolia. Guess Berserker's talking about this little choke point here. I think you could walk through it, but at the same time you could have gotten some arrow ships close and then sort of did a lot of damage as Berserker walked by, but I don't think MpT was exactly thinking about that. I think they had a lot more on their mind. Trying to keep up.